Good morning. I just got back from the butcher. Yes, it was a very, very early morning. Anyway, so I picked up a few kilos of meat and the butcher had some fat. So I am going to render the fat for you. It's very, very simple, especially if you have a slow cooker. If you have a slow cooker, it does all the work for you. This is how easy it is. I just put the fat in the slow cooker. Put the lid on it. I put the fat in the slow cooker. See? Turn the slow cooker on low, and that's it. I don't have to touch it for the next 12 hours. The slow cooker will do all the work for me. Now I have the rest of my meat. In this particular case, I got asado, which is rib meat. And once I figure out how I want to cook it for the week, I'll be cooking it. So I'm going to take you along with me when I do that. Before I do that, I have these grapes, which I am going to turn into wine. So before I think about the meat, I want to get this going. I already have some in this small carboy. This is actually nectarine peels that I am making a nectarine liqueur out of. It just stopped bubbling about a day ago, so I'm going to be taking these out, bottling them, and then putting the grapes in. The first thing we do is wash the grapes, so I'm going to be putting them into this colander and washing them. I will be taking the stems off of them, removing all the stems, placing the grapes into the colander. Now, I don't have a way to crush these grapes to press them. So, what I do after washing them is put them into a blender. And now I have 2 liters of grape juice. All right, now we get to pour the grape juice into the carboy. Now, this carboy is a small one. It's very convenient to use. It's very easy to lift up. Next, we add our sugars. So we add pretty much 1 part sugar to 1 part grape juice. We add the yeast. I just use regular bread yeast and it works. And then we fill the carboy with water. I generally do an equal ratio of grapes, water, sugars, and a little bit of yeast. Ideally, you would like to stir it. So I just use this really, really long kebab stick. It's a stainless steel kebab stick. And I stir it all around. Another way that you can stir it would be to shake it all around like this. Once it's stirred, I put the carboy on a counter where I don't need to disturb it, and I put this special cap on that allows gases to escape, but there's water in here that prevents anything from outside coming in. So the gases come up through the water and out. So this will be bubbling within a very, very short time. It will bubble for a few days, and then a week, 2 weeks, whatever. I give it another stir, and then I wait for it to stop bubbling altogether before I bottle it. Wait, didn't I just say that I had some nectarines in there? I did, and I removed them. This is what I did with them. Since I needed the carboy, I poured the contents of the carboy into a filter. It's finished anyway, it's finished bubbling. So now I am sieving it out. So I pour contents into this strainer, and then wait for it to drip, and then the contents of the strainer will go into this bowl. In this case, since I needed the carboy for the wine, and I'm a lot more strict with the grapes than I am with the other fruits, so I put the strained nectarine juice into these bottles, and these are actually meant for carbonated drinks, so they're a lot more sturdy than your regular bottle. So put the cap on, but I don't screw it all the way. I leave it open just a little bit. I added a little bit more sugar because I wasn't 100% certain that this is ready, that all the yeast has been used up, because it stopped bubbling only after a few days. So what is this? I say nectarine, but this is actually just the peels and what was left on the pits of the nectarines after I had after I had peeled them. I used the meat of the nectarines I dried them into a leather. So instead of just throwing away the peels, I make a liqueur out of them. This isn't 100% perfect. This is not the method that you are going to find when you do an internet search or talking about liqueur. And I do what I do. It works. On the off chance that it's not a liqueur, it'll be a very, very nice vinegar. But usually it is a nice liqueur. So I'm going to put this in here. Each one of these, you see it's loose. It's still clean, but the gases will still escape. And I'll be able to tell by the bubbles here. And I generally like it somewhat bubbly anyway, my liqueurs. So I'm going to give this another few days on the counter, and then I will bottle it. You'll notice that it is quite cloudy. That's okay. That'll all settle down to the bottom very, very soon. I want to make it very, very clear. Do not seal these lids all the way. The gases must escape. Otherwise, you will have an explosion in your house. Don't believe me? That was after bottling, when I thought it was finished. With corks. No. Make sure that it's not sealed yet. The rendering the fat, the taking care of the grapes to make the grape juice and putting everything into the carboy, and straining out the nectarines and bottling them, those 3 things only took me 15 minutes. That's it. I don't even think it took me 15 minutes. It may have taken me slightly less. But that's it. That's about how long it took me to do those 3 things. Now it's a waiting game. Now I'm free to do whatever else I'm going to be doing. And that's it. 15 minutes. So now I am going to finally sit down and have my breakfast, more like a brunch, and I will be looking up recipes to see how I can make my asado. This is the meat from which I will make 4 meals. One of those meals I will finely slice this and fry it up along with some potatoes and a veggie. That'll be nice. Another meal will be a stir fry with veggies. And then I will have a barbecue meal with potato salad and salads, all the good stuff that comes with it. And then I will also make skewers with vegetables that I have growing in the yard. So those are the 4 meals that I'm going to be having this week with this meat. So now it's just a matter of preparing it. Now you'll notice that there's fat here, right? Now the fat is really good. It's going to help keep the meat tasting good. But the excess, I'm just going to add that to the slow cooker and render it with the rest of the fat. These are going to be my skewers and my stir fry. I'm not going to be making them today, so I will be putting them in the freezer. Also, here's a tip. Frozen meat, when it's partially defrosted, is a lot easier to cut than fresh meat if you do not have a professional knife. These two, one will be my steak, one will be my barbecue, and whichever one I decide upon for today, I will cook up today, and the other one will go into the refrigerator tomorrow. This is on the tray now, and what I do in order to help keep the tray clean is I put the food into these cardboard cake pans. They're good for the oven. Anyway, I put it in here, make sure it's nice and sealed, and that's it. The oven is set up, the shadow's behind it and under it, and it's good to go. Right, I said barbecue. I know, I said barbecue. Here's the thing. It's warm outside. I don't need to light a fire. This gives a really good barbecue flavor with the barbecue sauce that I made without having to stand over a hot fire. It's a win-win if you ask me. Now I get to go inside, and in about an hour, I'll have lunch ready. All right, so let's recap what I've done today. I spent the night in the city, so on my way home, I went to the butcher, I picked up some meat. I came home, I'm rendering the beef fat. I made some wine out of fresh grapes. I prepared the second stage of the nectarine liqueur. I prepared my lunch. I had a good breakfast. And I prepared the meat for my other meals that I'm going to have this week. Wow, that was a lot. And guess how long it took? The wine, the liqueur, the rendering of the beef fat, and making my lunch took about 25 minutes of my time. Now I'm just waiting for everything to do what it needs to do. But 25 minutes of my time. That's it. Here we are about an hour and 25 minutes later. Oh, I can already smell it. One of the ways to know whether or not the food has cooked is if when you get close, you can smell it. And I definitely smell meat. The temperature gauge says that it is between warm and smoking. It's around 250 degrees. I'm gonna open this now. I might need two hands. Oh no, do you see that steam coming out? Oh, look at that. Look at that. It smells delicious. Okay, I have to now test it with the fork. I have to put this down to test it. Yes, this is definitely cooked. Definitely. It is so tender. The fork goes through it so easily. Really nice. There is liquid at the bottom. Yes. If I didn't want that liquid, then I should have, partway through the cooking, I should have opened the vent just a little bit and let the steam escape. I did not do that, so I've got liquid on the bottom. I'm sure it tastes good. Until next time.